And I know you guys have a ton of programs. I see your emails come through. And we'll talk about how you're social distancing and the type of online things you have in one of our next questions. But I want to give Cindy an opportunity to intro and answer that first question about your organization and membership and that sort of thing.
Okay. All right, I'm Cindy Scambry. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
I'm Cindy Scambry, and I am the activities and volunteer coordinator for Prime Life Enrichment. When I agreed to this, I was just the volunteer coordinator, so I've taken on a new role, which is really exciting. Prime Life is a senior activity center and a community outreach service. So we have in-house programs, we have transportation services, and then we have information and referral for people who are looking for assistance for one thing or another. If they're looking for low income housing, if they're looking for some help with some other problem, we have the resources here to help people look for those kinds of things. Our fitness program is membership based, and our in-house activities are membership based as well. We can drop in, but we have about 400 members. And to be a member, you technically only have to be an adult, but like the Lev said at the Jewish Community Center, it's the same here. Most of our programs are designed, or most of our people are 50 or older, and most of our programs are designed for people who are 50 and older. The only thing that's really limited to Hamilton County is our transportation service. We do have vans that are up and running again now since June, when we were able to come back in person. But that's limited to Hamilton County. Either you live in Hamilton County or your rides within Hamilton County, except that we can take people from Hamilton County down to the VA hospital in Indianapolis. We also serve meals, or we would be serving meals here 5 days a week. 2 of them are completely free, 3 either low cost or free, depending on your income. Right now, we don't have our congregate meals through SACOA or Second Helpings, but we do on Wednesdays. Divvy Restaurant here in Carmel is donating 125 lunches that we take out and deliver to people in Hamilton County. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have.
So I heard a lot of good things in there from both of you. We got to be really creative when it comes to engaging the community and keeping programs going. And it sounds like the two of you are both doing that. The transportation piece to the NDVA, that's great, Cindy. So I tried something new for our Zoom meeting today, and it's called polls. And just humor me, if you will, please. I am going to launch the first poll here. And if you answer one of our poll questions and or complete the feedback form in the link that we'll be sending out later, you will be entered into a drawing to win a $25 gift card. So the first poll, I don't even know how this is going to work, so just bear with me. We're just pausing a little bit just to have a little bit of fun. So our first poll, I'm going to launch it here. Have you ever toured a senior community or other type of 55 and over neighborhood or activity center like Oasis or the JCC? Oh, yeah, you guys are answering. Okay, so I launched it, and I'll share you my screen. It's like a live, you got 20. Okay, it says it's just timing it. I just see your answers coming through. They are anonymous, but so have you ever toured a senior community or other type of 55 and over community? And or this goes for centers like the JCC, Oasis, and Prime Life. All right, you have about 10 seconds left. And I am ending the polling. I'll give you the results. It says 80% of you answered yes, and 20% of you answered no. Um, so can you guys see that, the results there on your screen? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, just a little fun. I think there's like two more polls. Did somebody, I saw somebody waving her hand. Did somebody have a question? No questions. All right, star six again on your phone if you do have questions. And let's get on with our panelists. Question number two, what has changed with your organization, with the way your organization is doing business since the pandemic? And are you able to meet in person? And how are you social distancing? And what online options do you have? So a lot of
Well,
questions all wrapped up there, but yeah, go ahead, Love.
if I may, I'm afraid I didn't answer question one because I thought I was just supposed to give a very brief introduction to myself. So
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have that much more, but if I could just jump in. As I said, in a typical year, our arts and education department serves approximately 15,000 people. And we do that through our special events that may include things like jazz concerts, films, so forth. We have one of the best art galleries in the city. We have our adult continuing education classes that may include things like calligraphy, politics update, meditation classes, things like that. We've got our 22nd and Cats Festival of Books and Arts coming up this year that typically draws about 4,000 people during about a 3-week period. And I do want to mention that our cultural arts programming is available to the entire community. You don't have to be a member of the JCC to be involved in our cultural arts programming. So that's the answer to question one. And then since I'm already talking, if it's okay, I'll just slide right into question two, if that
Yeah,
works
go
for
ahead. I
everybody.
can vouch for that art studio though. I've seen that art and it's beautiful. You've got a beautiful facility there. So yeah,
Thank
dive
you.
into question two.
Okay. Um, Basically, everything's changed due to the pandemic. Unlike some of our cohorts who have talked on this program, we have decided that we really are not comfortable having our in-person programs, the spacing and so forth that would be necessary made us decide to go at this point in time, of course, not permanently, but at this point in time to virtual programming. Of course, what's disappointing is we don't actually get to see people personally, shake their hands and so forth. What's wonderful though is we've been able to create national consortiums, specifically the JCC Literary Consortium, and we've been able to bring in absolutely top-notch people, virtually, people like John Grisham, John Meacham, Jennifer Weiner, Marlo Thomas, Phil Donahue. Those are just people who we have already brought in. We'll soon be bringing in people like Ken Follett, Judy Picot, Deepak Chopra, and Michael J. Fox. So we've been able to do some really great things virtually, and also having a number of workshops and classes and so forth. We've offered tours of Israel. We've had workshops on implicit bias and racial equity. And we found that by doing this, since March, we've had over 22,000 views, which equates to about 40,000 people. Some of our programming is free. Some of it costs a little bit. There are a couple programs where you have to actually purchase the book to come, and that's not our decision. That's the publisher's decision. I do want to mention, I know that on the screen, it mentions how you can see our directory, but also I send out email blasts usually every 2 weeks talking about what specifically we have coming up regarding cultural arts at the JCC. And once again, you don't have to come to the JCC right now, nor do you need to be a member. And I would invite anybody who's interested, if you'd like to be on that email blast, best way to find out what's going on in arts and education. My email address, and I'll tell it to you now, but I'll also put it on the chat, is lrothenberg, ROTHENBERG, at jccindy.org. So you can get on the email blast, and you can also visit our website, which is on the screen. That's what I got.
That's great. I think that is something that other people have been experiencing as well. It stinks that we can't be in person, but we're getting really good at being online, and it's I guess widening our net because we were able to reach more people. And it sounds like you guys are really staying on top and working hard to engage some pretty well-known names there too. So nice job, Lev.
Thank you.
Okay, Cindy, you're up.
That's really exciting, Lev. I wrote down some of the names of people that you guys have had on virtually. That's really awesome.
Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome. Well, we've also changed quite a bit. We closed our doors on March 16th, and on March 17th, we started streaming all of our land classes live on YouTube, and continued doing it through today. We just decided we're always going to do it from now on. All of our land classes, our members will be able to get a YouTube link and go in. It is limited to our members. When we opened in June, or reopened in June, we offered our land classes for those instructors that were willing to come back, which not all of them were. We offered their classes live, in person, and then the ones that wanted to continue to teach from their homes, they're still online. We have followed all the CDC recommendations for social distancing. We've increased the size of our exercise room, which we were always able to do because it just had a divider between it and our multi-purpose activity room. So we moved it out. We taped out exercise areas for each person that are 6 by 8 with 2 feet in between them. So everyone's able to get in their rectangle. They can take their masks off when they're in the rectangle. But if they have to leave, even just to walk over to, grab their water bottle, they have to put their mask back on. And we are super strict about everyone wearing their masks. We also started our aquatics classes, but they're limited in number because we've roped off the areas that they can be. So we have an 87-degree pool that we do aquatics classes in, and we can only get 9 people and 1 instructor in the pool at a time. But those classes filled up really quickly. In fact, we just added 2 more starting yesterday in order to accommodate all the seniors that want to do the aquatics classes. It's been really helpful for us to have had that period of time when there was nobody here actually to get our virtual programs going. I personally have probably taken 200 or 300 calls from people trying to figure out how to do it. We don't use Zoom, we use YouTube so we can pipe our music right into it. And we think that sounds a little better. But we had a call group that just started calling all of our members so we could stay in contact during that closed period of time and then help them with all the virtual parts of it. So that's really, that's been the biggest change for us. Our transportation service is back up and running, but we can only do 1 person in the van at a time, where we used to be able to do multiple, but it's still working out pretty well. Fortunately for us, we had just gotten 4 new vans to add to our fleet. So we have plenty of opportunities to take people around. And I want to make sure that I made this clear earlier. It is not just to come back and forth to the center, but we'll pick you up at your house and take you to the grocery store, or to a doctor's appointment, or to visit a family member who also doesn't drive, that you just don't have the way to get there. It's open to everyone. So that's been the biggest thing. The next biggest thing, for me at least, is that we've only gotten about 30% of our members back in the center, but we haven't lost very many members. There's a few that have said, if I can't come, I'm not going to pay my membership. And it's relatively inexpensive anyway. So but that we have those people out there supporting us. The next thing because we're a nonprofit, the next thing that's been a big change for us is that all of our fundraising is done online. We normally have a huge gala in April, and this year, fortunately or unfortunately, I was the committee chair. So we were planning on having a big dance party and, doing all these things. And now we're doing it online. But since we've gotten so good at streaming, we've decided to have a live stream event. It's actually this Saturday night. It's called Prime Life Rocks. It's all 1950s based. We've got some speakers, we've got videos. You can check out our Facebook page if you want to see some of the videos. One of our members just turned 70, and she and I are going to co-host it. Should be a lot of fun. But the big deal is that everybody's learning how to use technology. Some of our members were so not tech savvy that we had to teach them what it meant to click on something. But they're getting it, and I think there's a lot of pride in that for them.
Yeah, I agree. Your timeline was similar to ours. We had our last in-person meeting in March. And then by the time our April event came around, they're typically on the second Thursday of every month. And we started making phone calls. Some of you probably received phone calls from us. And by then, it seemed like a lot of people had at least been on one or two, Zoom meetings. So, our audience has, I think, it has shrunk a little bit with the Zoom, but it's really still great to see some of the usual suspects getting onto Zoom and staying engaged and getting educated from great folks like you, Cindy, and Lev. So, I'm blown away by just the amount of programming that just the two of you have with your organizations, not to mention everything Oasis talked about too. I noticed on our PowerPoint, Cindy, we've got an email address there. So this is to sign up for the newsletter. Is that correct?
You could email that for any other questions as well. We're in the midst of redoing our website. So our calendar's on there, but it's not easy to find. And once you find it, it's not easy to read. So the easiest way is just to email that, and we'll get you on the list, and we can send you the activity calendar. We've just gone to, I should have mentioned this, a multi-page newsletter that's colored and beautiful and all of that. So you can email that email address, and that'll get you on the list for that as well.
Very nice. Yeah, I think all of us have become hyper aware of what we look like online in terms of like our website and things like that. We did I would say kind of a soft launch. We're still working out the kinks for our website too, because that's where everybody's going. So, okay, let's get on with it. It's 11 o'clock. Let's get to, we're at question number 3. Does your organization offer any training on technology? And what we were thinking about when we asked this question was Zoom and maybe smartphone training or computer training and resources for ordering meals online. Like I know in our house, I have a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old. As you can imagine, our bill is extremely high. And so we, frequent Grubhub and things like that. So is there any training that you're thinking about offering or that you already offer when it comes to our audience here and what sorts of things they can have access to online?
I would say we have in the past, but at this point, no, we don't.
Yeah, here it's a little bit ad hoc and a little bit more formal. A couple of our activities that are non-fitness related, like our art class, we have a Shirley Luttrell is our art instructor. She does watercolors mostly, and they do that on Zoom. So we've had some training sessions just to get people to be able to use Zoom for that class. Our scrapbooking group was doing the same thing, and now they're actually meeting in person, but it's only two of them, so they can easily stay apart from one another. And our newsletter, not every month, but some months we have a tech corner that talks about something to do. And then, like I said, when we first closed and we started doing, our 25 online classes a week, we had a group of callers who just started calling everybody that was a member and said, oh, by the way, you're going to get this email every day now that'll have sign up links so that you can go in, sign up, and then get the link to do the class if you want. That's for us, even the sign in where we used to do, I should have mentioned this in the last question, but we used to have computers, everybody come in, they'd swipe their card as they came in. And we decided that with the risks of the pandemic and the fact that we have a vulnerable population, that we don't want people crowded up at the front at computers trying to sign in. So we send sign up links, excuse me, by email every day, and they just sign in at home before they come. And then there's a few that don't have computers. We do that for them, but for the most part, and that we had to have training sessions for that so they could figure out how to do the sign in. And we'll just continue to add things as it happens. I've never thought about how to order meals online. We did a grocery, like how to get your groceries delivered. But now we're going to. So thank you for that suggestion.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I didn't even mention that. They recently opened a new Aldi near me on 82nd in Allisonville. And for Aldi, it's really fancy. It's a great Aldi, but they deliver, their service is amazing. You can go online and order your groceries and have them delivered within a couple of hours. And they just drop them off at your front porch. And I say, like, you save so much in food at Aldi that you can afford the little delivery fee because it's so inexpensive. And they have some really good stuff there. So yeah, the groceries, Kroger offers delivery, and they even changed, I think, within the last 6 months, how they do that, their app online and everything. So, I mean, if you're struggling, if you're out there and you're struggling with technology, please know you're not alone. I mean, I think everything's changing so quickly. Even people who would consider themselves pretty technologically savvy are having to work through issues. And I think one of the things I like to tell people is there's not too much you can mess up. So just dive in and try. And if you do mess it up, there's always somebody who can undo what you did and fix it, like a computer techies or your cell phone carrier and things like that. So don't be afraid to just dive in and try, because I think that's really the best way to figure things out is just to go in and try it for yourself. So yeah. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad we gave you a good idea there, Cindy, to show people how to order groceries online. All right. So I'm going to try this poll again. Let's see. Poll question number 2. Okay, this one is, maybe you can see it on your screen there. You can RSVP for the virtual bus tour to Heritage Woods of Noblesville, which is on September 17th at 10 a.m. It will be, as I'm talking, I'm realizing some errors here in our system, in this polling system. So you're not really RSVPing because I can't actually see the people who are saying, yes, I'll be there. So we will send out an RSVP link so you can officially RSVP. But the space is not limited. Usually on our bus tours, the space is limited because the buses that these senior communities have typically only seat about 15 people. So they're usually limited to about 15 people or so. But since it is virtual, we can have as many people as we want, whoever wants to sign in and take part in that virtual bus tour. We're going to be touring the community with the marketing director and some of the folks who work at Heritage Woods, including the dining staff, and I think maybe a physical therapist they've got there. And they may even have some residents there to give live testimonials, which will be nice, from their apartments there at Heritage Woods. And Michelle and I were able to actually go in, and we had to go straight to an office and wear masks and have our temperature taken and everything. But I think we even maybe went to an event there before the pandemic, and we got to see the community. It's very, very nice, obviously in Noblesville. All right, I'm going to end the polling, but it looks like about 36% of you say that you'll be there. 42, it went up to 42. So there we go. That'll be a good event. And again, the point of doing the virtual tours is to show people that these senior communities that you see popping up all over the city, they are not the nursing homes that you probably remember maybe back in the 70s or 80s, where there are 100-year-old people like sitting in wheelchairs in the hall with drool dripping down their chins and things like that. They're very updated and new and clean, and they've got a lot of resources for the residents and their loved ones. And we want to show that. We want to show them off. So, all right, that was fun for the polling. I think I have like one more, but it's fun to figure out how this works. Michelle posted in the chat box, if you're not on the Indy Senior Living Series mailing list for newsletters, event packets, like the packet that we have for this event today, or other upcoming events, email Michelle at downsizingindy.com. Give her your email address and ask any other questions there, and she'll be happy to help you. Thanks for doing that, Michelle. The next question is, we already touched on this a little bit. You can, if you have anything else to say about it, guys, you can. Does your organization have an activities calendar? And if so, where do we go to find that? Did you want to add anything more to that, Cindy or Lev?
I'm okay.
Yeah, you can see mine's right there on the screen, jccindy.org event/directory or -directory.
And then Lev put his email address in the chat as well, lrothenberg@jccindy.org. If you're listening on the phone and you didn't get that, call me or email me and I'll pass that information along to you. The last question, and we're going to open it up to general questions too after this. What's the best advice that you can give our audience to stay connected during the pandemic, and maybe even touch on why it is important for us to stay connected? Also, Cindy put her email address down there too in the chat box.
My advice, which we give out here regularly, is to not be afraid to reach out. Like exercise is important, all of those things are important, but if you're home and isolated, it affects your immune system. It affects so much of your life that isolation is one of the biggest problems that seniors have, and the thing that we want to address. But just reaching out to someone, even just calling Prime Life. We have friendly visitors. They're volunteers that go and just visit people for whatever they might need. They're not caregivers. They just are people that go and talk with others. When we were quarantined and couldn't go in person, they were on the phone. So we have a host of friendly visitors that can help people, but not just Prime Life, but any of the organizations. And then from a more basic, I try to tell my senior friends, call a friend, call a family member. Don't stay home and be upset. My mom's one of those. She's 83 and she will, we all get busy in our lives, especially when we're trying to learn all these new things. And she'll go, but nobody calls me. I'm like, well, you got a phone. Pick up the phone. Don't be lonely if you don't have to. And then I'm going to plug something else. I'm not selling these, but a lot of our members and a lot of my family members are hard of hearing. So when we gather, we use these masks. They don't have a headband. They've got a thing, but they can read lips through this, which you can't do with a mask. And really it has eased a lot of angst for a lot of people to be able to do that. Probably in Marion County, you can't wear them into a store. You can't in Hamilton County. You have to have an actual mask. But for your socially distanced gatherings, that mask is lovely.
Yeah, I think being able to read lips, but I mean, I can hear fine. And yet I've had trouble understanding what somebody is saying when they have a mask on because I can't see their whole face. And I do like those.
With the glasses.
Do they have like clear glasses? Yeah. So I think they can fit over a normal pair of glasses too.
They do. And you can see people smile, which we're not getting enough of smiling because our faces are covered. So it's
much. Nice you never realize like cutting off this much of your face, it takes away so much of the personal interactions and nonverbals. And I think we'll all be really good at reading people's eyes when this is over. So yeah, I mean, you don't know if somebody's smiling at you in the grocery or just have started just looking down and not even looking at people. So I like that. Yeah, just get out there and make yourself get in community with people because it is one of the biggest problems with the senior communities or senior population. Especially a lot of people who are aging in place or aging at home, which is really great, but you have to be intentional about getting the human interaction. Yeah. Lev, what about you? What's your best piece of advice for our audience?
Well, I've got a couple, although I would say that I think, Cindy did a great job, as did you, Lisa. I think, first of all, and I should mention that I am a senior for what that's worth. I think being a senior citizen nowadays means so many different things. But I think number one is getting involved. And I want to kind of jump back to the technology aspect that you brought up, Lisa. I've become much less fearful of technology in the last 6 months because I've had to be less fearful. And things that I thought I simply could not do, I've discovered that yeah, maybe I'd mess it up the first couple times, but I could do it. And everybody out there must have a go-to person. You don't necessarily, if something is confusing, many of us can call our children, our grandchildren. I know that my go-to person is my younger brother, who's been immensely helpful in things where I just don't know what button to press. And, but I think that being involved in part right now involves technology. I think that it's a good time to delve into hobbies, whether it be gardening, whether it be online backgammon or bridge or things like that. And certainly you can Google almost anything. And just as there are so many of us that are sitting at home wondering what to do, there are also so many organizations that are just thinking we have things to do. we just want people to come and join us. So I think there's that opportunity. I think with the crazy / interesting year that we're in, if you're so inclined towards politics, there are ways that you can get involved in that. You can become involved in self-reflection, meditation, tying in with your church, your synagogue, anything like that. Cindy mentioned talking to people on the phone. And I've found that this is a really good time to think back to those people that I haven't spoken to for maybe a year or 2 or 3, who I'd like to recontact with. And it's a wonderful time right now to actually retouch people. And one of the obstacles that I think needs to be overcome there is not to sit back and say, if they wanted to talk to me, they'd call me. There are people who I simply want to talk to, going all the way back to college. And I think it's helpful to take the time to do that. I think it was Cindy or possibly Lisa who also mentioned the benefits of exercise, whether it be group exercise or individual exercise, however you like it. It could be walking, it could be chair exercise. I myself do a lot of bicycling, but I think some level of physical activity is very important to us to stay vibrant, not only through the pandemic, but actually after the pandemic also.
Yeah, that's good stuff. They say if you move it or lose it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, our bodies are made to move. So that was, I mean, all of that, I couldn't agree more with both of you. I've taken up wordscapes on my cell phone. Anybody familiar with wordscapes? I feel like I'm working my brain, and some of those words, I don't know what they mean. You can click on the word and it's a crossword puzzle. So those are fun to pass time, and doing that rather than getting on social media and looking at everybody's crazy posts about whatever, you name it, or the news, and getting, fearful to even open my front door. So those are good. The self-reflection, the meditation, all of that. That's great advice. I am going to do one more poll, and then we'll open it up for general questions. This one, this says, are you interested in a free, no obligation downsizing consultation for you or for a loved one? Now, again, I told you this is my first time doing these polls, and I already realized one problem. If you click yes, I can't see, it's an anonymous poll. It's just a poll. So if you are, you're going to have to fill out the feedback form with your information. And I'm going to actually post that link to the feedback form. So if you completed the poll, you're pretty tech savvy. So you ought to be able to also complete the feedback form in the link in the chat that I just posted. I'm going to end the polling in 3 seconds here. All right, end the polling. Yeah, so I didn't, those questions I put on there, I was assuming I'd be able to see who was answering them. So if you said yes to that or to the RSVPs, those were anonymous polls, so I couldn't see your contact information. So be sure and fill out the feedback form. If you want, Michelle, you can, there you go, thank you. You can fill out the feedback form I just posted in the chat box. If you're on the phone, we will call you. I'm going to, let's see here. I'm just trying to see if we have anybody on the phone. Okay, I don't think we have anybody else on the phone right now. All right. If we do, if there is somebody out on the phone and I missed you, or if you're on one of our live streams and you want to complete the feedback so that you're entered into the drawing, reach out to us. either social media or phone or email, so we can get you into that drawing for a $25 gift card. We do read the feedback forms, and we do take your opinions and advice to heart. So go ahead and fill out that feedback form. We talked about the home evaluation and or downsizing consultation. Like, just a quick shameless plug. The real estate market is insane right now. It's actually a perfect time for both buyers and sellers because the interest rates, I don't know if anybody out there is paying attention to interest rates, but they're ridiculously low, like in the twos. I remember when I started in the real estate industry working for a builder, and our managers were saying, oh my goodness, these are the lowest interest rates we've seen in 30 years. And back then they were like in the eights. So that was 13 years ago, 14 years ago. So they're in the twos now. So if you're interested in, a home evaluation or downsizing consultation, or even just refinancing your home for a lower interest rate, get a hold of us. We can put you in the right direction for that. Remember to invite others. Next month, Michelle, what is our topic next month? I don't have it in front of me. Hospice. Next month, we are talking about hospice, and I think home health and hospice. So again, RSVP for that event, but also share it with others. And I believe that's all. I think Stacy Bonas is offering her famous baskets that she made when we were meeting in person. Stacy, I tried to unmute you here. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the basket all made, and I'll just need to know where the person lives who wins so I can drive it over to them.
Okay, great. So we'll draw 2 names when we're drawing. So be sure to fill out that feedback form for us, and that is your entry for the drawing. One last call for any general questions. I'm looking here on Facebook too, for our video to see. Thank you again to our sponsors. We really couldn't do this without you. We are working hard to make each event better and better every single month. I'm sure you see some sort of new thing that we've added or done differently each month, and hopefully that's working out for everybody. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Thank you, Cindy and Lev, for your time today. Thank you for the sponsors that are here. Thank you, Stacy, for the gift basket. We're happy to have you back. And enjoy the rest of the week, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.